information overload, energy overload. This new moon has us feeling a little frazzled, a little burnt out. Which options are the right options and which options are a little bit too much? Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I'm back with another super exciting extended 2-week forecast. This one is for August 27th all the way through to September 9th, the entire waxing phase of the coming lunar cycle, beginning of course with the new moon in the sign of Virgo. And this new moon has us feeling a little frazzled, a little burnt out. This new moon is about setting intentions to separate yourself from that which is causing you to feel frazzled and burnt out. And so that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. This new moon is going to be a little bit more of an information overload or an energy overload that's going to cause us to turn inward. That's going to cause us to focus a little bit more on self-care. This is where we're in recovery mode. The past few weeks have been really turbulent, astrologically speaking. There's been a lot going on with the ongoing energy of the Mars conjunction to Uranus and the North Node. And that's going to continue to be active throughout the next few weeks, not necessarily always with Mars, but in general, there's a T-square and then another T-square and then another T-square. And so we'll definitely be talking about that as the weeks unfold. But for right now, this is a time where we kind of need to take a breather. Mars is squaring this new moon. Mars is in the sign of Gemini. And so we have a lot of different options, a lot of different ideas, a lot of different passions, a lot of different things that we are motivated to take action on. And this new moon is causing us to kind of take a step back and reflect on that, reflect on which options are the right options and which options are a little bit too much. Where do we need to focus our energy rather than scattering our energy all over the place? Luckily, we have Mercury in the mix in the sign of Libra. Mercury in Libra brings a certain level of balance. It brings the ability to weigh the options and be very direct with that trine to Mars in terms of what you actually want to create, what you want to pursue, what you want to, take action on, what you want to communicate to other people and how it should be communicated so it's both harmonious and easily accepted and easily digested by others. That's that Mercury in Libra, always thinking about how your language will be coming across to other people, but also being direct in the way that stimulates action, that stimulates activity, that shows you, the way. It's kind of like taking into account the needs of other people, but also knowing when to take action, when to actually move on something. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you watch the video that I did with Elizabeth Clark on Mercury and discernment. It's going to be floating around somewhere up here, where we talk about your Mercury placement and how that relates to your ability to make decisions. We go into Mercury in Libra and all of the different elements and signs in that video. Also, if you want to get really deep into tapping into your intuition to make really clear decisions for your life, for your well-being, and for your health, you can get 25% off her Discernment Framework right now with the coupon code Heather. And so check that out down in the link in the description below. This is a limited time offer, and I truly love her framework. It's based around truth testing or muscle testing, but it really helps you to hone in on not just muscle testing in general, but how to become really confident in your abilities and how to use it to ask questions and get really clear answers from your body's innate intelligence. And so I love this app, and Elizabeth is super brilliant, super well educated, and she's put together something that's really unique and amazing. So again, you can find that down in the description below. And a lot of people might be needing that right now with all of this frazzled energy that's still ongoing. And so this is basically a time right now for revitalization after burnout. This is where we need to separate ourselves because Mars is the separating principle. It divides things, it cuts ties. This is where we're cutting ties, again, from that which is causing us too much anxiety, that's causing us to be too overburdened, that's causing us to feel like we are just spread way too thin. And so that's going to be a big part of that reflection. And in the sign of Virgo, of course, this is about not just your physical health and well-being, but your well-being overall. And so this is about looking at the choices and the options that you have, cutting away the excess, and making sure that what you're moving forward into is going to serve you and the people around you. It's not just about doing everything for everyone, it's about looking at how this is impacting you as well. And so taking care of yourself first is absolutely crucial during these times, and especially around the time of this new moon in Virgo, which happens on the 27th of August. And so keep that in mind as you're going through these changes, as these new activations are occurring, as your life is shifting and changing and rearranging throughout the next couple of weeks. And as it continues to kind of follow through with the rearrangements and the changes and the shocking, kind of unexpected things that might have come up for you in the past couple of weeks, this is about looking at what matters, and this is about making sure that you are cared for first. So self-care is key, even when you're actually, especially when you're feeling like you have too much on your plate. And so that's really what this is going to be all about. So this new moon is an exact square with Mars and Gemini. It's going to be that T-square between Saturn, Uranus, and the North Node, which, you know, Mars has moved on, right? Mars is now in the sign of Gemini, so that's at least nice. It's no longer in the sign of Taurus, where it's weighing on that T-square really heavily. It's moved on. It's doing something else now. Now it's squaring the new moon instead. Lucky us. But this is a time where that North Node Uranus conjunction is still incredibly tight. As a society, we're still going through changes. As individuals, we're still going through changes, and this is continuing to accelerate through the end of the month. Saturn and Venus will be in opposition to one another, and that's going to create an incredibly tight T-square. Luckily, now it's Venus involved instead of Mars, and so that's going to be a little bit of a different energy that'll feel not quite as difficult for most people. And so we'll talk about that in just a second. But before we get into all of that, for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Heather Eland. I'm a professional astrologer and an astrology teacher. My specialty is helping students who are struggling to put all of the different bits and pieces together to learn to give meaningful, accurate astrology readings and make predictions with confidence. The best way I do that is through my Cosmic Academy of Astrology. You can find information about that and the waitlist down in the description below. And even if you're not ready for a full-blown course, I have a free gift for you. My Astrology 101 PDF guide. This is going to give you everything that you need to know about the signs, planets, houses, aspects, and more, so that way you can get started with picking apart your chart and interpreting your chart and understanding what the heck I'm talking about in these videos much more clearly. This is a printable PDF guide because that's what everybody has requested, so you can keep it on hand and in front of you whenever you need it. And so that's my free gift to you, again, down in the description below. And so the way that I structure these videos is I always start with a 5 to 10 minute general overview. That's kind of what we're in right now. Try not to skip this because it provides an important context for the energy that's coming up in the next 2 weeks. And when we get into the forecast for all 12 signs, make sure you listen to your rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign to get a more holistic overview of the energy for the 2 weeks ahead. Your sun sign will be your rising sign will be the most predominant energy, believe it or not. Your sun sign will be secondary, and your moon sign is important to listen to as well, because although this will be a little bit more internalized and subjective. Finally, at the end of each video, I do a overview of the next couple of weeks. And in this case, we're going to be talking about the new moon in Pisces, which is so much nicer than what we've been dealing with. So I'm super, super excited for that full moon energy. That's really going to take us to a different state from what we've been in for the past few weeks. So make sure you stick around until the end if you're looking to hear that good news. But kind of in general, the waxing phase of the lunar cycle, I just want to go over some bullet points of what's going on and when it's happening and all of that. So of course we have the new moon that's happening on the 27th. Venus is opposing Saturn exact and creating a T-square with Uranus in the North Node the day after this full moon, the day after this new moon in the sign of Virgo. I'm frazzled by all the energy, of course, but luckily it's Venus, right? And so yes, it will feel like the tension is kind of building up again. The tension could be coming through relationships. It could be coming through material possessions and material matters. However, with Venus, even when it's in a square or a T-square, Venus is considered to be objectively positive, and it can bring good things. It can bring a little bit of balance, harmony, beauty, and ease, and maybe even a little bit of joy into the situation that's been causing you a lot of friction and potentially a lot of challenge and hardship over these past few weeks. Even though it might not feel like you're getting these blessings in the moment, if you step away from it and view it objectively, or if you're somebody who's on the outside looking in, you would be able to see that it's going a little bit more smoothly in certain ways, especially in certain material ways that you can view in that objective framework, especially with Venus and Venus's significations. And so it's bringing passion and joy back into the experience and helping you to see a good way to create balance and harmony, where you're not just working, changing, dealing with chaos, frazzled and all over the place, but you can also bring back into that, back in that state of joy, that state of harmony. And so I do, it's still creating friction, and it could even be, I think for some people, that it's going to be like this lazy energy. It's like, I'm just done with this. I've been dealing with it. I've been dealing with it. Now I just want to experience pleasure. And that's, I think, where the danger could come in. It's like, yes, you need a little reprieve. Yes, you can bring some fun back into the situation. But if you go too far, you're going to cause the challenges that you've been dealing with to become more challenging. There's still work that needs to be done, even though the most intensified period is over with. You're not finished yet. There's a lot that you need to carry forward and continue to build and continue to kind of take care of and make changes on and make adjustments to. And so that's something to just kind of be aware of, and finding a balance between that. On September 4th, Venus moves into Virgo, and so it's no longer in that T-square, and it's in its fall placement though, but I almost prefer that to, activation of the T-square, even though it should alleviate some pressure, but it is moving on. So that's something to make note of. And then the sun is actually going to trine the North Node in Uranus as a part of the full moon energy that we're going to discuss in 2 weeks, which happens on September 10th. And so just make sure that you stick around until the end. We'll talk about that a little bit, and subscribe to my channel because you don't want to miss that forecast and the good news and what we can do with that finally. And then Mercury is actually stationing to go retrograde on September 9th. And so we're going to have a whole video on this topic on September 3rd that you guys will be able to watch and get through the entire Mercury retrograde, the ins, the outs, what's going to be happening there. But it's going to be retrograding from Libra back into the sign of Virgo. So this is another air to earth transition where we're going to be able to take ideas or connections, especially in Libra, that we thought were otherwise fleeting, and revisit them and translate them into something very practical in our reality. We're going to ground them in some way. And so that's really exciting. And this Mercury retrograde actually looks quite nice. And so I'm looking forward to that period, especially after all of this. So that's what we're getting into. And so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning, of course, with Aries and with Aries rising. So for Aries and for Aries rising, this new moon is happening in the area of health, work, and daily routines. You might be feeling frazzled by an overwhelm of communication or activity that's going on kind of on a day-to-day level when it comes to your work, and this is a time to reset. This is a really great time for you to separate yourself from ideas, from communications, from connections even in your community that are causing you to feel very burnt out, that are causing you to feel very frazzled. This is also about separating yourself from aspects of your work, aspects of your daily routines that are feeling like they're overburdening you, like it's too much, there's too many options, there's too much going on right now, and you are frazzled. This is a time for a reset when it comes to the way that you care for yourself and show up in service of yourself first, before you show up in service of others, because there might be a lot of heavy themes right now going on around having to serve and care for your community or having to do a lot for other people. This is a time where it's more about you. It's more about making sure that you're taking care of your health. It's more about making sure that you're taking care of your mental and physical well-being. It's more about making sure that your routines are not overburdening you so you don't feel burnt out. This is also a time where an outlet can come to you through your connections and communications with other people, especially one-on-one. So kind of lean on that if you can. You'll have very harmonious, balanced connections and communications right now that can be very direct, but also very receptive at the same time, where you're going to be more open to hearing and understanding the other person's point of view and vice versa. So negotiations and communications can go quite well for you. For Taurus and for Taurus rising. So for Taurus, this new moon is happening in your 5th house. So lucky Taurus, you've been dealing with a lot, like a lot, with the T-squares and all of the Uranus, North Node, Mars energy. And that's still ongoing, but this new moon, especially if you're a Taurus, sun, moon, or rising anywhere from like 0 to 5 degrees or 10 degrees even, you're going to be feeling this in a very positive way. This is going to be a cosmic reset that's going to cause you to let go of certain issues, options, stress, or strain that has to do with your finances specifically. So if that's something that's been weighing on you, or if there's something that's coming up at this new moon, that where you have too many options or too much that's frazzling you in the material area of your life, this is a time where you can kind of take a step back, reset from that, sever ties with whatever's not serving you in that area of life, and you can move into experiencing more joy. This is a really, really great new moon for you to connect with the things that you love because you love to do them, especially if those things are a form of self-care, or especially if those things have some sort of practical value, which they likely do, being a Taurus and having this energy in your 5th house, especially for those Taurus risings. And so this is about doing something for you because you love it, because it feels good to you. This could also be an energy where you're going through a reset when it comes to being frazzled by especially material and financial burdens when it comes to your children, or your connection to your children in some way, where you're going to take a step back and experience a little bit more joy and cut ties with whatever it is that's causing you to feel frazzled, that's causing you to feel overwhelmed there. This is actually a great time to communicate with somebody in your workplace, or like or hire somebody. This would actually be a really great time, Taurus, if you are wanting to get a hold of your finances and you don't know where to start because there's too much going on or too many options. Hiring like a financial advisor, or hiring a CPA, hiring somebody to help you with that situation, I think could be very, very helpful at this time, especially around the time of the new moon in Virgo. For Gemini and for Gemini rising. So for Gemini, this new moon is happening in your 4th house, which is the house of home, family, property, and real estate. And so you haven't been hit quite as hard by the, unless you have other things going on in your chart, which some of you probably do, but in terms of just your Gemini placements, you haven't been hit quite as hard by the ongoing T-squares and all those things. But right now for this new moon, this might be weighing on you a little bit more. You might be feeling really fired up about something, but you might feel like you have too many different directions that you can go into. It might feel overwhelming to you. You might be feeling multi-passionate and multi-excited about too many things, and that could burn you out. There could be conflicts or disagreements that seem like they're coming toward you, but really at this time, you could be the cause of your own undoing when it comes to conflicts in relationships. And so you do want to be very careful and make sure that you're very clear and very direct on the way you're communicating, and all of that too, especially when it comes to family situations. But this is a really great time to engage in some sort of self-care in the home, or behind the scenes, or through connecting with your family, or through literally just spending time at home and shutting away the world and just enjoying the space that you're in. This could all be a really great way to use this new moon energy. And this could get you fired up about creating something new in your home. Just know that you have to let go of something or multiple things, multiple ideas, multiple passion projects in order to make that dream a reality. But you're going to be very passionate in your speech right now and in your communication with other people. And with the exception of maybe family and in like work circumstances and things like that, that could actually work to your favor. And so that's something to make note of as well. For Cancer and for Cancer rising. So for Cancer, this new moon is happening in your 3rd house, which is the house of day-to-day kind of routine travel. It's your commute to and from your work, or whatever it is that you do on a day-to-day basis. It's your community, it's your neighbors, it's your neighborhood. It's also the area of learning kind of more basic skills, or smaller types of certifications and skill sets. It's writing, it's communicating, it's distributing information, it's marketing. And so all of these things could be activated for you around the time of the new moon in Virgo. And so it could be a time where you are engaging in some sort of new marketing campaign, or you are communicating something new, something different. Whatever it is that you're initiating, it could even be wanting to buy a vehicle or change something with your travel, or wanting to do something that you feel like could be really positive to serve your neighbors or your neighborhood or your community in some way. There's something or someone potentially working against you. And so there's something that's hidden behind the scenes, a secret, or a secret kind of a secret relationship or a person or something that's going on that you're not seeing, that will be revealed shortly, probably after the time of this new moon. And it's going to cause you to have to cut ties with some things, to end some cycles in order to create or to initiate whatever it is that you want in that area of the third house. This could also involve siblings and extended family members. And so it could be someone in that kind of realm that's maybe working against you, or a neighbor or something like that. And so just kind of keep that in mind. There's something that you have to let go of here. It's something that's close to home, but it's not necessarily the end all of your plans. It's whatever it is that you want to initiate, whatever it is that you want to get going at the time of this full moon or new moon is absolutely possible, but you do have to sever some ties, not just with people, but maybe with sort of past karmic circumstances or cycles that you notice are repeating, in order to create that new reality. For Leo and for Leo rising. So for Leo, this energy is happening in your second house, which is the house of money. And so there's something that you want to get going with. There's something that you want to initiate. There's something where you really want to get the ball rolling when it comes to creating or dealing with or managing your finances in a different way, in a new way, in a much more pragmatic sort of way, maybe getting a budget in order, getting your ducks in a row. But there's something that's preventing you from doing that. It could be connections to friends or your social networks. There could also just be a lot on your plate when it comes to your financial decisions and too many options. There could also be like a lot of people whispering in your ear, do this, do that. This is how you should do it. This is how you should do it. And you might need to kind of cut away some of those options. There's too many options. There's too much going on. And that could cause you to feel very frazzled and very burnt out. And so definitely communicating, with people and with your friends and with your networks, and maybe even finding someone in your community who can help you along the way can be fruitful. But having too many opinions about a situation can cause you a lot of distress and can cause you to just kind of burn out completely, and nothing will get accomplished. So you want to make sure that you're being very discerning in that way. So for Virgo and for Virgo rising, this energy is happening in your sign, Virgo, and so this is your new moon. This is a cosmic reset on you. There's something going on here, though, where you want to do something. You want to start fresh. Maybe you want to get a new haircut or a new wardrobe, or you want to do something very literally with your physical appearance, or get started with a new workout or self-care routine or health routine or something like that. Or maybe there's just something that you want to do because you feel passionate about it. It's connected to who you are out in the world, and it's something that you want to deliver to others. But there's something going on here, a conflict that is coming from either your work, or maybe somebody who you're in business with, or somebody who's in a position of power and authority in your life. It could even be something as simple as the government that's preventing you from fully moving forward. It's almost as if there are too many options for things that you could be doing out in the world, especially in the career realm, or especially when it comes to the legacy that you leave behind. After you're gone, that's part of it too. If you're somebody who's not working, it's about looking at the impact that you make on the world at large, or on other people, kind of in that broader scale. And it's there's too many different ways that you could go about doing this, and it's causing you to feel frazzled. You might also just have too much on your plate when it comes to your work, when it comes to your career, and too many people pushing you in different directions. And so you're going to have to let go of certain options. It's not that you're losing that option, it's that you're doubling down and focusing on the thing that is most important to you and that serves you and your well-being first and foremost, before you go out and serve others. This is also, by the way, a really good energy for having some sort of communication with an authority figure or something along those lines when it comes to your finances. So if you're like wanting to ask for a raise or something like that, I would wait until shortly after the new moon is passed. But there's something going on there too where you could have some communication that could lighten things up financially. Like maybe you are doing too many jobs and your role is like split between 20 different things, and you're like, I actually want to focus on just this one thing and I should get a raise because I'm doing too much. All right, and so for Libra and for Libra rising. So for Libra, this new moon energy is happening in your 12th house. This is the hidden house. This is where you go for rest and for reprieve. You are going through a big reset with this new moon energy where you need to spend some downtime. You need to spend some time with yourself. This is where you have a lot of really big ambitions, a lot of really big ideas. There's all these different perspectives on the way that you should kind of move through life, the next steps, what you should do when you have the cosmic reset of the sun on your ascendant or sun or moon for your solar return. And so this is like where you're holding too many different perspectives, too many different like ethical and moral value systems in tandem all at once, and it's kind of leaving you feeling stuck or leaving you feeling like you don't know the right way to move forward because it's a little premature. So you're going to have to cut away and focus on, what really matters to you, what you really value, what you really hold dear when it comes to those philosophical, religious, or spiritual ideologies, and then embody that from there. And so that's going to be a big point of reflection for Libras and for Libra rising. For Scorpio rising. So for Scorpio, this energy of the new moon is happening in your 11th house. And this is actually a much more pleasant new moon energy for Scorpios, which is good. A lot of the fixed signs are getting a better end of this, which I think is a little bit of a relief, especially because we're in the middle still of all of that T-square energy, all of that Uranus North Node energy. And so this is where you can really count on your friends, your social networks, people that you surround yourself with by choice. And also this is a really great energy for new beginnings when it comes to your relationships, your one-on-one connections with other people. And so this is going to bring in some good energy where there's been some turbulence, especially if you're a Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising anywhere from 0 to 10 degrees. You'll be feeling this more positively than others. That being said, there could be some power struggles when it comes to your friends, your group associations, your networks, people that you surround yourself with by choice. It's kind of like you want to start something new within the group, or maybe you're looking to seek out new friendships or new kinds of friendships, and something is going on here that's causing you to feel frazzled. There could be too many options or too many people whispering in your ear telling you to do things one way or that way, or you could come into a new connection right now, especially a friendship or one of those kind of group associations through your networks that could be some sort of like power struggle or conflict. That being said, there is potential for a lot of positivity. Also, this is where if there's a lot of conflict going on with your finances, like there's too many options for investments or for insurance, or you have too much stress, too much strain, too many things coming up all at once around like taxes or debt or some sort of financing for something, your partner's resources, that could cause you to feel scattered instead of focusing on that partnership, right? And that really good energy that you could reset and, put a lot of care into. This is about self-care, but also showing up in service of the group and for what's good for the group and for what's good for your partnership. And so, looking at that and kind of looking at what you can cut away financially, that's a big thing too. There's too much going on there and too many options. But I like this energy a lot for Scorpios. There's a lot of potential with friendships right now, so long as you are cutting away the excess and you're not getting frazzled by all the different things that are being presented to you. And there's a lot of good energy for relationships, so long as you're not getting frazzled by potentially the financial side of things. That could even be like business connections and commitments and things like that too. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. This new moon is happening in your 10th house, which is the house of your career, your public reputation. This is a really great time for you to focus on starting something new or manifesting something new when it comes to your business, when it comes to your work, when it comes to your public persona, the way that you engage with the world at large, or the legacy that you leave behind after your working years. This is also, though, where there's going to be some sort of conflict. There might be too many options in some sort of business-related partnership, or too many partnerships, or your partner could have too many ways of inputting. Like, it's like too much input through your partner, especially a business partner, but it could even be like your romantic partner, your spouse or significant other, where they're like kind of chattering in your ear and saying, do this, do that, do this other thing. I know I sometimes do that to my husband. Even with his business, I have all these ideas and I want to share it with him. So maybe I'll tone it down during that week. But there's something going on where there's too much input and too much going on in relationships, and that's preventing you from focusing in on what you need to reset for caring for your business, for caring for your career, for caring for your goals. And so you want to make sure that you're cutting away the excess and you're focusing on only manifesting and creating what's really important for you. Your friends will be a really great source of inspiration. Your networks are really great for you to lean on right now, especially if you are feeling frazzled and burnt out. For Capricorn and for Capricorn rising. So for Capricorn, this new moon is happening in your 9th house, which is the house of travel. It's the house of the wisdom that you gain through your direct experience, through the adventures that you have out in the world. It's your perspective on life that you gain through those experiences. It's your moral, religious, spiritual, philosophical, and ethical value systems. And so you are going through a little bit of a reset in that area. It's kind of like you have a lot going on a day-to-day basis where you can't really focus on the bigger picture. And this is causing you to cut away some of that excess on the day-to-day when it comes to your work, your health, and your daily routines. It could even be that you're having to cut away some sort of health issue, or maybe you're doing too many different things to try to alleviate some sort of health concern. I know I've certainly done that in the past. And so it's like you're taking too many supplements and doing too many things all at once, and that could be overburdening you in some way. But for most of you, it'll be kind of like your day-to-day life. It's just getting a little hectic. There's a lot going on all of a sudden, and it's preventing you from focusing on the bigger picture. You have to cut some things away because the bigger picture is what's really important right now. This is a great energy for Capricorns, especially if you're a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising, anywhere from 0 to 10 degrees. And so you want to make sure that you are aligning yourself with your integrity, or that you're taking advantage of this opportunity to go on a big adventure, or that you're working towards setting those intentions for that next big adventure or for that next educational pursuit, so you can learn and grow and gain a newfound perspective on life. And so that's going to be your form of self-care for this new moon, is really focusing on the bigger picture and the adventure that could potentially unfold, not just right now, but into the future. Get out of that day-to-day mindset and that day-to-day chaos. Okay, and so for Aquarius and Aquarius rising, so this for our new moon is happening in your 8th house, which is the house of debt, joint finances, inheritance, taxes, insurance. It's also the house of a lot of our psychological issues, our fears and anxieties lie here. It's the house of magic and the occult. It's the house where things go a little bit deeper. And so this could be a time where you want to focus on all of those things, where you want to have a new beginning when it comes to your resources, or your partner is having a new beginning when it comes to his or her resources. It could be that there's something new that's stirring for you when it comes to an investment opportunity, or the opportunity to maybe reset and pay off some debts, so that way you can enjoy yourself and have more fun to do things that you love because you love to do them. This Mars energy is actually hitting you quite nicely, Aquarius. And so, like I said, for a lot of the fixed signs, you're getting some good energy from this new moon, even though it's in a square. And especially because Mercury is in trine with Mars, I would say that if you are an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising anywhere from 0 to 10 degrees, you might be feeling like you want to have a lot more fun. And maybe that fun that you want to have is connected to some sort of occult practices, or something that's a little bit more taboo, that you're maybe wanting to do more behind the scenes, or you're incorporating that and bringing it out into the open in some way. But this is a time for passion, for play, for adventure, for exploring higher realms, for exploring higher wisdom, and having those adventurous and very fun experiences for you. But there is that energy of the 8th house where maybe it is that you have to overcome some sort of fear or anxiety around pursuing your passions in order for that to be a thing and in order for that to take place. It could also be that if you have children, there could be just a lot of chaos and too many things going on. Like if you have one child, it could feel like you have 10 because that child's all over the place. But you can have fun with that. Take your kids on a trip or go on a trip yourself, to do something that you love. Do some sort of self-care there. And this is a good time for psychological and internal and spiritual self-care as well. For Pisces and for Pisces rising. So for Pisces, this new moon is happening in your 7th house, which is the house of relationships and one-on-one connections. There's something new like that you want to do in your relationship. It's almost as if you want to have a reset or a new beginning or do something new in partnership with somebody, romantic or otherwise, or there could be an intention for a new relationship to come in. But there's some turbulence or some chaos going on behind the scenes in the home, family, property, that area of life, where maybe you have a lot of different things going on at home and maybe you need to cut ties with some of that. You need to sever some of that energy and focus in on what really matters. I would say right now relationships are a form of self-care for you, so engaging in one-on-one connections with other people, but it could be that your family situation or your home life is a little too chaotic and you feel scattered. And so you're going to have to, again, focus on what really matters and make sure that you're taking time to separate yourself from what's not serving you right now so you can engage in that more positive way in relationships, so you can build that new foundation in relationships, so you can have that self-care through your connections with other people, which is really important for you right now, Pisces. Okay, and so that's my forecast for all 12 of the signs. In 2 weeks, we're going to be discussing the full moon in Pisces, which I actually really love. So this is going to be the full moon conjunct Neptune. It's going to be sextile Uranus in the North Node. So this is actually a mitigating influence for that Uranus North Node energy in the areas where it's been difficult or challenging for you. You're going to have this magical energy, this mega manifestation energy which creates this circumstance where anything that you visualize, anything that you connect with spiritually or emotionally or in your imagination or in your fantasy life, you can actually create that or include that in your new reality that you are merging into, that you are rearranging into right now. And so I love, love, love this energy. This is a very spiritually driven energy. This is a very intuitive energy. And again, this is an energy where you are able to make some magic happen. And so, yeah, we'll get into that in a lot of detail in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next astrology forecast. And make sure that you share this video with your friends if you feel like they could benefit from the information that I shared with you today. Thank you guys again so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.